Hi, it is Friday, the 13th of October, 2023. So, I wanted to discuss two topics today. And so, the first topic, I want to just touch on the whole Israel situation again. Um, and then I want to talk about, after that, I want to talk about these people that I've kind of called out in the last week, these two people in particular, what that's all about, and why I'm upset, in case anyone cares. So, first, so it sounds like Egypt. I had said, I think if I were in Gaza and I had an opportunity to evacuate to Egypt, that I would. Well, it sounds like that's not an opportunity that has been granted by Egypt. Um, so that sucks. And I mean, as an individual, the choices are what the choices are, and people just got to make the best decisions they can. And it certainly doesn't look like a good situation. Um, I don't know. I guess I don't have much to say about it. I mean, I think it's really sad, and it's hard to have much hope for the people who are living there at this point. Israel seems really dead set. When I say Israel, I mean the Israeli government seems really dead set on just really slaughtering all these people at this point, and that really sucks. Um, so I am grateful that there was a lot of talk about this day of rage today, day of jihad, and it doesn't seem that there's been any kind of major events happening in the Western world. I don't know where we're going to go from here, but I was grateful that that didn't happen today. Uh, you know, this whole topic of refuge, I mentioned yesterday, about people building their own kingdom. And, I really just believe that every landowner should essentially be their own country. And I've believed this for a substantial period of time. And I've talked about why I believe that to be the case. And, governments really fucking suck, man. And they really suck at setting border policy and trade policy. And these things should really be left to the individual to decide, the individual landowner. Um, I do believe that people need security, but I believe that a charitably funded security force can provide ample security for people if it's sufficiently funded. And I believe that it would be in the absence of a centralized government, because I believe most people, if not everyone, wants to live in a peaceful society. It's good for business, it's good for lifestyle, and um, I think it's what we should all be striving for. I don't believe that Israel eliminating or genociding the people of Gaza is going to do Israel any good. Um, I don't think that, I don't expect that the surrounding Muslim world will respond well to that, either immediately or once the economy of the Western world collapses, as it will, because it's based on debt that is unsustainable. So I encourage peace. I encourage compassion, and I discourage violence. Um, Even if you hate someone, even if you're scared of someone, I think there are better solutions, and people should really be focused on trying to figure out what those are. Um, so, my message has been pretty consistent with freedom and supporting the disestablishment and the liquidation of government as it exists today. Um, I think that is what we should strive towards. But I think that we need at least the vast majority of the population to support that plan. And that's going to require discourse. So now I want to talk about these two individuals and why I have said the things that I've said to these people and why I'm so upset. And the reason is because I feel like I've really been disrespected and dismissed by these people. I feel like my intelligence, my ideas, my emotions, and really everything about me has just been dismissed by these people. And I think that people really ought to step back and think about who they're dismissing, because I'm not an idiot. And if you want evidence of that, you can look at the fact that I got into Mensa the first time I took the test. You can look at the fact that I got my undergraduate degree with a 4.0 GPA, the fact that I completed a master's degree in a year, the fact that I became a CPA and got the 8th highest test score in our state the year that I took the exam. You can look at the fact that I got into the Navy nuclear program, which is an tremendously vigorous and intellectually challenging program. And, there's probably a lot of other things you can look at and point to as well. That should indicate to you that I'm not an idiot. And I will acknowledge that for the last several years, I've spent a lot of my time under the influence of marijuana, and maybe that makes me seem a little dopier than what I am. But I didn't learn economics in the last few years, and I've spent a lot of years studying economics, and I have spent a lot of time having deep intellectual discourse with a lot of people from a lot of backgrounds, and I've heard a lot of ideas. And, I put a book together that I think offers a lot of really good ideas that we're going to need when this currency and this bond market fail, and they will. My book looks at reality. It acknowledges the reality that exists. It doesn't shy away from reality to come up with solutions. It acknowledges reality. And I think that's really important, and I really believe that. And if I have this conviction, you should think there's a reason I have it, man. I mean, if I'm wrong, if my solutions are bad, if they're misguided, you should be willing to tell me why. You should be willing to work towards peace and towards connection in this world with people who see things differently than yourself. All the isolation, all the silencing that goes on social media and in the general media, and just that people choose in their lives when they choose to isolate themselves from people who see things differently from themselves. None of that's healthy, none of that's productive, and none of that is working towards peace. We all live in this world. That is reality. Everyone who lives in this world, you need to consider and deal with the fact that they live in this world and that they believe what they believe. I think all this religious stuff, the religious division, why can't people just talk about it? Why can't Why can't people make a case as to why this religious scripture rather than this religious scripture or this interpretation of this religious scripture is accurate? Why can't people do that research and have a civil conversation about it with respect and compassion and empathy? You know, we are human beings. We're not incapable of using reason, of having, of listening and understanding, you know? I don't think there's any good reason that people shouldn't, you know? If people are threatened by loss of social relationships, then those things aren't real to begin with, man. You know, because a real friend isn't going to fucking leave you just because you question something you believe, man. Um, you know, maybe in certain circumstances, people are threatened with violence, and that's another topic, but I don't think that's generally the case. I think generally um, it's something that can happen and that needs to happen, you know? So I guess that's about all I got for today. You know, I've been working real hard recently, getting through this tax season, kind of burned out from that, but we've kind of made it to the finish line. So hopefully now things will kind of calm down a bit, and I'll have more energy to kind of devote to some of the other things that I care about. And you guys have a good evening.